I hope you're having a good evening. Yeah, let me know if you're watching live. That helps me to know that all of my settings are good. And let me know what you did this weekend. This weekend was a little uneventful for me. Didn't do nothing too exciting. Actually, yesterday I worked in the morning, which is not as exciting. But in the afternoon, I took part in a demonstrator Stampin' Share that was hosted by Genevieve Coe and Zara Premji, who are demonstrators in Markham, Ontario. And so that was fun to be able to participate in a lot of that session. And there were guest speakers, including Kylie Bertucci, who is an Australian demonstrator, as well as Patty Bennett, who is a US demonstrator. So those are always fun events that you can join being part of Stampin' Up! Because you get to meet different people from across the country who also have a love for Stampin' Up! And you get to see products that are presented differently, so you get lots of inspiration in these events. So that's one of my favorite things about being part of Stampin' Up! Is to get to take part in all of these fun events. So and then today I cleaned the house. So, between work and cleaning, there was that little fun event in the middle. So hopefully you were able to enjoy the weekend in whatever way you were able to do that, whether it was outside or in your craft room. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hi, Janine. Hi, Brenda. Thank you for watching. If you're watching live, drop a comment below. And if you're watching on the replay and you have any questions about anything that we cover tonight, then feel free to leave a comment and I will get back to you. So let's get started. So this is Sunday Stamping. For those of you who are new to my page, every Sunday I go live at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time and I share with you new products or projects I'm working on in my craft room or different techniques. And my name is Jenna Moore. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in London, Ontario, Canada. I've been a demonstrator for about 4.5 years. I've stamped for a long time before that with different people and different timing of life. I've always been crafty. So Stampin' Up! Was really something that I grew to love and really appreciate more as a demonstrator. The way that all the products coordinate, that for me makes everything seamless and easy. And so I decided to join as a demonstrator to take advantage of the discount, as well as to be able to teach people stamping, which is really the reason why I joined. I had done some informal classes before I joined, and so joining and be able to teach people my love of Stampin' Up! Just came naturally. So tonight we are going to look at a new product that is in the mini January to June catalog. It's something that I've never really worked with before, so I've taken some time to use this product. It has to do with decorative masks. And I want to share with you these beautiful masks because they are the first set of masks that I've really truly enjoyed and can see myself using a lot of. So I'm going to flip down my screen. I have a couple of announcements before we get started. So here we go. So first of all, I want to remind you that Celebration is still on for the month of February. So it goes till the end of February. Products are available while supplies last. So with every $60 or $120 order and any increment thereof, you can earn free product in the Celebration brochure. These are exclusive stamp sets and products. You will not find these in our Stampin' Up! Catalogs. Some of my favorites to highlight, I was using this set this weekend, and actually as part of an upcoming class, and I really, if you know me, I love everything Hawaii, so with the pineapple and the tropical leaves, this is one that I can see myself getting a lot of use out of. This paper I featured last week during Sunday Stamping. I really like the colors as part of it, but the paper that I love the most is the Sunshine and Rainbows, and the bundle that goes with this paper will be featured as the class to go this month. So again, celebration products are while supplies last, or until February 28th. And then tomorrow will be the last call for February classes. There is a virtual and an in-person class this month. So Stamp a Stack in person runs February the 18th from 7 to 9:30 p.m. That is in my studio, and it is limited to a smaller number of people because of COVID regulations. So if you're interested in this class, please let me know. That's a good question. It's $30 or free with a $35 order. So you can attend that either way, either the class fee or the order. And if you are a member of Stampin' Up! And you're part of my team under Jenna's Crafting Crew, then your fee is reduced to $25. And then we also have a virtual class on Zoom, which happens the following Friday. So February 25th from 7 to 8:30. And this class will feature the Rainbow of Happiness bundle. So the whole class will be focused around that suite or that bundle. If you don't have the Rainbow of Happiness stamp set, you will need to substitute to be able to take part in this class. So again, tomorrow, February 7th, is the last call for both of these classes. So tonight, as I promised, we are going to look at new products. So if you're looking in the mini January to June catalog, this product is featured on page 65, and we'll be working with the decorative masks. These are actually a product that I completely missed in this catalog. Had no idea they were in here until I saw, I think it was Kylie Bertucci using these masks on a card. So because they had the butterflies in there, those were the ones I was really interested in and how they worked with the layering. So I've actually taken each mask and created a card with them. So I'm going to show you those, and then I'm going to show you one of the cards tonight. So there are 6 masks in this package. So I think you get a lot of value for this pack. It's only $13.50 Canadian. And these are reusable. They're sort of like a thicker acetate. You clean them just under a cold water. I didn't take any soap to them. I just ran them under cold water because I was using water-based inks with the cards that I used. I just washed them off. So I'll show you all the designs. There's this butterfly one. So they are supposed to be layering stencils, so you can see the outline and then the detail. Then there is this one with the leaves. There's this one with the flowers. These ones would make great background stencils. Then there are these 2 with the flowers, and you can layer these to create different flowers with the leaves. And then there's this background one as well. Okay, so with the masks, you're going to want some coloring tools. So you can color them with any of our coloring tools. You can use blends, markers, any of those to sort of outline and fill in. You can also use the blending brushes, which are what I'm going to show you tonight. These are clean. Contrary to the staining on this brush, I've just, again, run them under cool water. I didn't use any soap. These are very fine bristle brushes. I don't think I'll be able to capture that on the video, but hopefully you can see this. You get 3 in a package, and these are in the annual catalog. They're not in the mini catalog. You can also use our embossing paste, which is a white paste. You can mix it with the refill inks, and you can use those on the stencils. They create nice texture with the stencil. I didn't do any of that with my first round with the masks, but that's something that I want to try. Or if you don't have the blending brushes and you have sponge daubers, you can use those with the stencils as well. And actually I found with the ones with the more detail, like this one here, I used the sponge daubers over the blending brushes. Sponge daubers come in a package of 5. You can, again, rinse them. I don't usually rinse mine. I have one for each color, but that's up to you. Again, rinse them under cool water, let them air dry. Okay, so let me show you the cards that I created, and then I'm going to create one tonight. So the first stencil we have here is this one. So this is a background stencil, and what I did with that one is this card here. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. So I used it as a background stamp, and I actually did 3 different colors with my blending brushes. So I started with Highland Heather, which is the same color as the cardstock, and then I believe this is Flirty Flamingo, and then I finished with Coastal Cabana. Did some heat embossing with one of the Celebration stamp sets that I have now put away. Oh no, here it is. I think this is this one. Yes. This is the Special Moments stamp set. This is available as one of our Celebration rewards. So I used one of the sentiments from there, used the lovely label punch, and added some twine. So I love the variation in the color here with this stencil. I like how that turned out. The next one was another background, which was this one in the flowers. So I did this card, which I used Misty Moonlight, and again with the blending brushes as a background. I used some of the, these are the Flourishing dies. They're part of the Fern set in the annual catalog. The name is escaping me. And then these are the Scallop Contour dies, which I love. I use them all the time. Another sentiment from that stamp set, and then some linen thread to finish that up. So that's that one. Then I did more of the detailed stencils. So this one here is the butterfly. So I did the outline first in Fresh Frieza, which is one of our in colors, which is the same color as this background here. And I don't know if you can see if this will focus. Yes. So this piece of cardstock I embossed using the new Hive 3D embossing folder. That's become something that I've used quite a bit. It makes a great background there. And then for the detail, I came back in with the blending brushes, and again I would probably recommend the sponge daubers if you're going to do the detailed ones, and I did that in Gorgeous Grape. And then I ended up, I'm not sure if you can see this on the video, so I ended up using a Wink of Stella pen because I wanted to see what that would look like, and I went back over the detail, so the darker purple, hopefully you can see that, and I just really painted over with the Wink of Stella. And then I added some of our in color gems, and then again this is one of those sentiments from that stamp set. So that's that one. And then this one's probably my favorite one. So this one took me a few tries to figure out how these stencils go together, and I used the blending brushes, and I found it was harder to keep control over where the ink was going, so that's why I'd recommend the sponge daubers for these detailed ones. So this is this die, or this mask. You start with the larger, and I did this in Petal Pink, and actually I cased this from the catalog. I wonder if I can show you. So it was a case of this card, but instead of doing the other mask as my background, I chose one of the Heart and Home Designer Series paper instead, which is the same Misty Moonlight color. So I did this stencil in Petal Pink, and then I went back with Calypso Coral, and then I used this mask here to go back and do the leaves in Pear Pizzazz and it was, is it soft, not soft succulent, soft sea foam and Pear Pizzazz. So those are those two. So the card I want to show you tonight is using this background stencil, which I thought was really fun because it's the leaf pattern, and I wanted to pair it with the Tropical Layers dies, which are these ones here. These are part of a suite in the new catalog called Artfully Composed. Let me grab my catalog. I did not flag this before, and I should have. Let's see if I can find it. Yes, this one here, Artfully Composed Suite, has the sea glass faux shapes, which we're going to use tonight. We're also using this linen. It's not linen, it is fringe ribbon, and I'm going to use the dyes. I'm also going to use the papers, which I absolutely love, and then there's vellum here that is next on my wish list. So I'll put that aside, and I'll share with you the measurements of my card tonight. So I have pulled a piece of soft succulent. Oh, hopefully there we go. We're all focused now. Soft succulent. This is a basic card base, so it measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Sorry, I'm gonna stop moving. I don't know why my camera is jumping around like this. Get rid of this. So then we have a piece of basic white, which measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I have a couple pieces of Designer Series paper, which is from that Artfully Composed Suite. So I have one piece that measures 4 1/4 by 1.5. I have another piece that's 3.5 by 1/4 inch, and then this last piece is 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And then I also have a piece of crumb cake, which is 3.5 by 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'll start with the mask. So what you want to do is have a piece of grid paper, because if you are using a piece of paper that is smaller than the mask and you go off, you want to make sure you have a piece of scrap underneath. And then you either want washi tape, or I'm using the Post-it labeling and cover-up tape, because you want to be able to hold down your mask. So I'm actually going to take 2 little pieces of this. And then the grid paper is nice because I can line up my paper along one of the edges. I'm going to put my mask over top and make sure it covers my paper. And then I'm just going to use the Post-it tape on both sides here. Okay. And so again, if you don't have the blending brushes, you're going to pull out your sponge daubers. And I am just going to use one of the brushes because I'm using 2 different greens. I'm going to start with the light green and then go back in the darker green. And as long as I wipe it off in between, there's not a lot of transfer in between the ink colors. So the 2 greens that I've chosen for this background are Grainy Apple Green and Soft Succulent. So I'm going to start with Grainy Apple Green. And with the blending brush, you want to pick up the ink from the ink pad using a circular motion. And to avoid any of the harsh lines that you might end up having, you're going to start on your grid paper. And I just want to sort of spot with this color, because I'm going to go back with the Soft Succulent. So I don't want to fill the whole thing, but I am going to try to get enough of the Grainy Apple Green, and I'm going to go back and pick up some ink. There we go, because I want some parts to be darker and some to be lighter. Okay, so once I think I have enough ink on there, I'm going to close this up so I don't stick my hand in it. And all that I'm using here is one of my old Norwex microfiber cloths. If you don't have Norwex, then just grab a microfiber cloth. These cloths go in, you can just wash them up afterwards under warm water, or you can actually throw them in the washing machine also. Because this is water-based ink, you don't have to worry about it transferring to other clothes. And then I'm going to go back with Soft Succulent. So hopefully you can see that there with the color. And I'm going to go back with the Soft Succulent and fill in all the spots that I didn't get Grainy Apple Green. So again, start on your grid paper, and then you're going to go back and fill in so you want some spots that are going to be darker and some to be lighter. And it's okay if you cross over where you already put down Grainy Apple Green. You want to try to avoid shifting the mask which I seem to be doing. I think I did more of a, instead of a circular pattern on the mask, I did more of a straightforward, like back and forth with this mask. Okay, just gonna make sure I have everything covered. There we go. So I'm going to close up this ink, and then I'm going to lift the mask. So you'll be able to see it more once I lift this. So there we go. So I've got this nice, beautiful background pattern with the two colors of ink. And again, I would just take this mask and run it under cold water and let it air dry. Same with my blending brush. So we've got that for our background, and you can see why we need the grid paper. So to save your surfaces, you want to make sure you have some sort of scrap underneath. So now we're going to start putting our card together. So I'm going to take my card base, fold it on the score line, and burnish the edge. And then this piece sort of becomes my background designer series paper. So it adds that nice background to my card. So I'm just going to take Stampin' Seal and glue this down. And there we go. And then I'm going to put this aside because I want to sort of work with my other pieces before I start putting the card together. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to use one of the dies from the Tropical Layers dies, and I'm going to, instead of cutting out these pieces, I'm going to use this die, which is sort of like a background die, because it doesn't cut anything out of the paper like an image or a shape. What it does is it puts these background lines into my paper. So this is my crumb cake layer. I'm going to grab my mini machine. I'm going to run this through a couple times to create those lines on my crumb cake. So let's see if I can get this so you can see it. So just use this the same as your other dies. I'm actually going to put this one on a bit of an angle, which I didn't on the card I worked on before. So I'm going to crank that through. And you can see that it just leaves those lines in the back of the paper. Then I'm going to turn this and run it through again. And just going to do it one more time, and I'm going to flip the die a different way and run it back through. There's two different background stamps, or background dies in this set. So we'll get this out of the way. You can see now that my paper has that background in it, which is super fun. Okay, so that's one of my layers. So this card has a lot of different layers, different textures, different layers. So this piece here is one of the designer series papers in the package. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip the edge. Actually, I want this to be a little bit small. So just going to tear. And the reason I'm tearing on this side is because I want this side up and I don't want this white line to show. So I'm ripping on the opposite side. You don't have to be too particular about that. So that's another layer. And then I have these two pieces of designer series paper. I'm actually going to flag the end of this. So to do that with scissors, you just cut up the middle, and then you cut from one corner to the middle and then the other corner to the middle. Get rid of these pieces. And then I also did cut out already, I die cut one of the leaves from the Tropical Layers dies, this one here. I did remember this time, oh, I only did half of it, of course. I thought I remembered to use the adhesive sheets on this die because it does have quite a few little bits on it. So you want to just pop out those little bits, use my take a pick tool here. And then I also have one of the stitched rectangles. So if you haven't seen the stitched rectangle dies, these are a staple for your craft room. Lots of different size rectangles, and they're all stitched, which are really nice. So I've cut out this one here. This is for my sentiment. I'm gonna get rid of all these bits. Okay, so these are all of our different layers. And actually there's one more. So I'm going to use a bit of this ribbon, cut it off. And the name of this ribbon is Frayed Ribbon, and I'm going to show you how it frays. So I'm pulling the end off the ribbon, and hopefully this will work okay while I'm doing it on video. So I'm pulling the ribbon apart. Oh, here we go. And then you end up with all these frayed pieces. Then I'm going to take, so I want to lay these all down. This gets a little messy, but I love the way it turns out. So I'm going to then take this piece that I've ripped off. I'm just going to back out a bit here. And I'm going to lay this in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one piece of string and tie up the others. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I'm just going to tie a knot. If I can do this. Here we go. There we go. So this is a fun, different way to use this ribbon. And then I'm just going to cut the long ends off. Okay, so now we have this fun little piece, which is hard to see, white on white, but it'll add a bit of interest to our card. The other thing I should say is with the frayed ribbon, because it's a white ribbon, you can use the Stampin' blends to color the ribbon so that you can coordinate with your product or with your projects. So get rid of that. And now we're going to do our stamping. So somewhere in this mess, I have lost my little pierce mat. Here we go. So I'm going to take my stitch rectangle. And the stamp set that I chose for this card is not the Special Moment stamp set. I pulled the Timeless Tropical. This one is in the annual catalog. It also has a pineapple, so of course I have to have this one. And I'm going to grab, oh, I already did, the Thank You one out of here. And I'm going to use Soft Succulent, which is one of the colors I used on the background, and it's the same color as the cardstock. Just stamp that up, and then put that on the little rectangle. So there we go. Put this out of the way, and now we can start putting the card together. So I'm going to start with the layers. The bottom layer is going to be Crumb Cake. I'm going to use Stampin' Seal to put that one on. And align everything up to the right-hand side of this card. So there we go. And then I'm just going to pile the other layers on top, so piece by piece. I'm going to put this one on. So this is the torn piece. I'm going to put that there. And then this thinner piece. So because it's a bit thin, I'm going to use Tombow liquid glue. I can get it off the table. There we go. And I'm going to layer this on top. And then this little piece of designer series paper, I'm going to put some liquid glue on it too. And layer that on. Next I want the ribbon. So the ribbon I'm going to put on the card with a glue dot. The glue dots I find are heavier adhesive. They have a stronger stick, and so when I'm using ribbon, I like to use the glue dots. So I'll pick that up and put it under the knot of where I tied the piece, and then I'm going to layer that on. And that just gives a fun element to this card. And then I'm going to take my die cut shape. So because I didn't get adhesive sheet all the way on, I'm just going to put some glue on the other bits. But the adhesive sheets are nice because you can just peel them off, and then you essentially have a sticker, which is great with these detailed dies. Get the last little bit off. And then I'm just going to layer this sort of on top of the ribbon. There we go. And then the last piece is our sentiment, which I'm going to add with Stampin' Dimensionals. And I want that sort of right there. So I'm going to put my dimensionals so that everything's not layering over those, over the ribbon, because I want to make sure it lays flat. So I've got a couple dimensionals on here. I'm going to put that there. There we go. And then to finish off this card, we want some embellishments. So I've pulled the faux sea glass shapes from the suite. And these are fun. They're in 3 different colors. So we have clear, sort of a pear pizzazz, and soft succulent. Grab my take a pick tool. And these are all irregular shapes. So they really do look like they are sea glass. And I'm just going to add a few. There, and one more probably right there. And there we go. So it's fun to use the decorative masks and add different elements to your card that you wouldn't normally do. And this was my sample, which I didn't pull in until the end because I wanted the card to be a surprise. So this is a fun layered card, but all of these other cards that I've shown you tonight are with all 6 of the different masks that are available in this package. So I hope that you will try the decorative masks with different coloring tools that you have in your craft room. If you have any questions about any of the products that I used in these cards, please feel free to drop me a note or send me a message, and I'd be happy to help you. Otherwise, I hope that you have a great evening and hope you have a great week. And I will see you next Sunday at 7:30 for Sunday stamping. Take care. Bye now.